In this video, we're going to be looking at taking the trig identities that you know from earlier in the course and using them to derive two new trig identities. So we're starting with sine squared plus cos squared is equal to 1 and tan x is sine x over cos x. So to derive the first identity, we're going to divide both sides by sine squared. And when I say divide the left-hand side by sine squared, dividing the whole thing by sine squared is actually the same as dividing the individual terms by sine squared. Once we've divided both sides by sine squared, we're going to simplify the result to get a new identity in terms of some reciprocal trig functions. If you've not done this before, now would be a good time to pause the video and try it for yourself and then compare what you get with what I write down. Welcome back if you've had a go. So dividing the left-hand side by sine squared, we'll get sine squared x over sine squared x plus cos squared x over sine squared x, and that equals 1 over sine squared x. Now sine squared x divided by sine squared x, that's just 1. We also know that cos x over sine x can be written as cot x, so cos squared over sine squared can be written as cot squared x. And 1 over sine squared x, that can be written as cosec squared x. So here is our first identity. 1 plus cot squared x equals cosec squared x. Following this, we're going to do a similar thing and derive another identity by dividing both sides by cos squared x. So let's get rid of this. Once again, you might want to have a go at it for yourself. First, divide both sides by cos squared x, and then see what happens when you simplify the terms. Welcome back if you've had a go at it for yourself. So let's divide both sides by cos squared. That's going to give us sine squared over cos squared plus cos squared x over cos squared x equals 1 over cos squared x. So sine over cos can be written as tan. So sine squared x over cos squared x, we can write that as tan squared x. Cos squared x over cos squared x is 1. And 1 over cos squared x is sec squared x. So we get tan squared x plus 1 equals sec squared x. And that is our second identity. Now, these are relatively straightforward to just derive, but it is really important for the purposes of the A-level course that you have these identities memorized. They do come up frequently throughout the A-level course, and if you know these identities, you're able to spot when you can use them effectively, and it will make a lot of problems simpler. Just going to show you a way now where if you can remember this identity, you can actually write down the other one quite easily using this one. All you need to know is what tan, sec, and cosec and cot are short for. Because if we take tan x and write co in front of it, we could say that's cotangent. And then cotangent plus 1 equals cosecant. So cot squared x plus 1 equals cosec squared x. So just by putting the letters co in front of those, we can actually see what the other identity would be.